Welcome to the Incroyables! We open up with superhero interviews and a car chase with guns that do no real damage. A chase that Mr. Incredible wants to stop, but first he must help this old lady get her cat out of a tree by ripping the tree out of the ground and shaking the cat out of it. Overkill much? Don't you have super strength, therefore in turn super jumps to jump up to the cat and take it out of the tree without doing all this shit? Also, no way a tree that big has a root system that shallow. Maybe it does, I'm not a treeologist, whatever. Cat gets saved and he stops the robbers with the tree, and in the real world they'd be dead. Also, the tree would be really dangerous putting it back in there like that without replanting it. But again, not a treeologist, I don't know. Dude gets in his 1980s self-driving rocket Tesla, ejects his biggest fan who just showed up in his car because he wants to help him and be his sidekick, although he is not super and kind of useless and annoying. And he goes over to stop another crime with Thickness herself, Elastigirl. Then catches a suicidal man midair jumping from one building into another, where yet another crime is taking place. Fucking hell, this city has more crime than Gotham. The crime taking place is one by a certain Bon Voyage robbing a bank. And he attempts to foil his plans only for incredibly retarded boy to come on his rocket boots and foil his plans of foiling Bon Voyage's plans because he really wants to help and be useful. And he's like, I'm gonna go call the cops for you. You don't need to do that, retard. The cops are already at the bottom of the building because someone was jumping off it, you fucking moron. Anyway, while doing that, Monsieur Terroriste sticks him with a bomb. Bob sees it, tries to go save the kid, hangs on to him, gets the bomb off. The bomb lands on train tracks, blows up the train tracks. Now Mr. Incredible has to go save this train and stop it like Spider-Man. He gets rid of dumbass boy and goes to a wedding. His wedding. He's getting married to Elastigirl. Mazel tov. Then right after he gets sued by the suicidal dude that he saved and all the opportunistic passengers on that fucking train that he also saved. Then a whole buttload of soups gets sued by a whole buttload of regs, which leads to all soups being outlawed and forced into living out the rest of their lives normally using their secret identities. Then years later, Bob's fat with 3 kids, and this is a perfect time to explain who is who and has what powers. Bob is Bob. He got super strength. Helen is super stretchy. Kid 1, Violet, can go invisible and make force fields. Kid 2, Flash 100-yard dash. If you're a dense kid that didn't get that, that just means he can go really fast. Kid 3, Jack. His powers didn't kick in yet, so they think he has none, but it'll come in later and he can transform basically whatever he wants. Samuel Jackson, aka Frozone. He can freeze shit. And Buddy has no powers. He can just invent shit. Smart, I guess. Back to it now. Bob's fat, working a desk job with an SPS shitty boss. I'm probably correct on the SPS bit. Look at how small he is. There's no way he has a big dong, or even average sized dong. Anyway, Dash gives his Stewie-headed teacher extreme paranoia by pranking him with superpowers he's not supposed to show and keep hush hush. Violet crushes over a dude and uses her superpowers to avoid him in broad daylight. No one is standing on her side or looking at her direction to see this shit, and that's bullshit. Whatever. Dad's depresso espresso. He hates his boring, monotonous job and is thinking about slitting his wrists with fucking laser cutters. That's the only thing that work, right? He's in a stupid, boring rat race and he gets home even more pissed, and at dinner, Mom talks to the daughter like, what's wrong, honey? Haven't touched your food. I'm not hungry for meatloaf. Then what are you hungry for? She hungry for another type of meat. Tony's dick.
Shut the fuck up, you
They start fighting, powers are used, someone knocks on the door, and it's a black man. It's Frozone. He's here to pick up Berrito to go bowling, which is code for let's listen to a police radio for trouble and fight crime, which we're not supposed to do. They obviously do that and save a bunch of people from a fire, and at least one of these people is now at the minimum crippled because they busted through a wall with them on their backs and accidentally ended up in a jewelry store. A cop comes in, Frozone freezes him, and they get away. Being frozen like that, A, he should be dead, and B, if he's not dead, his eyes should not be able to move like that because they are also frozen. Bob gets home to Helen and she finds out that he's been fighting crime. She does not approve of that and they have a small fight. Skip, boring. Bob almost dislocates his boss's head because his boss was giving him shit about doing his job properly, then throws him through multiple walls because he finally had enough of his crap, and somehow this only results in injury. There are so many deaths in this movie that aren't deaths, and it's pissing me the fuck off, but it's a kid's movie, whatever. Agent K comes over, the government dude responsible for covering up the screws shit, like, I paid for everyone to keep the traps shut, but I can't afford to relocate you again. That's a lie. I know how big your defense budget is. Thanks for understanding, bye. Bob's obviously let go from his job now and goes home, finds in his briefcase an early version of an iPad that scans him with a woman saying that she knows who he is and she could use the help of a superhero, gives him this mission to do in return for big cash prize. He jots down all the details. The message self-destructs, which sets off the sprinklers in his house. I'm curious to know how he bullshitted his way out of setting off the sprinklers to his wife. That's not important though. He decides to call the woman from the iPad and do the mission behind his wife's back, telling her that he's going on a business trip for work. Gets on a spy plane with a bitch. She briefs him on his mission, which is to kill this big ass testicle with arms that her secret whatever organization built, who were foolish enough to give it AI, so it became self-aware and went rogue, and his job is to kill it really fast because it learns his attacks and shit, so be efficient and not to do too much damage to it because it costs them a lot to build and they want it back. So they shove his fat ass in a magic 8-ball and drop him on the island where the big testicle is. He runs around a bit and finds this big bowling ball with arms. He fights it a bit. They drop down on the ground to some lava. He throws it into lava. It sinks into the lava. Shouldn't sink into the lava. At least not that fast. Shit doesn't sink that fast into lava. Actually, it probably depends on its density, I guess. Moving on. It survives the lava and hops out, gets a hold of him and stretches him out, only ends up fixing his back so he rips his head off and jumps into its body, forcing it to do some friendly fire on itself and rip its own heart out. He walks away. Snowball and her boss are watching like, impressive. We need to bring him back. And also have dinner with him. So she invites him to dinner. He shows up and she walks through a lava curtain to meet him. That shit is so impractical, fucked up, hard to achieve. It's just actual lava. How are they not dying from this? Okay, Mr. Incredible is incredible, but how is she surviving this? Not a single bead of sweat is running down her fucking face, man. How even is this possible? Was the whole place just a giant freezer to allow for this one fucking gimmick in this stupid ass room? Whatever. They eat food, talk about her boss wants to keep his anonymity. He goes home in a better mood, starts losing weight, boosted testosterone, new car, spends more time with kids, has sex with Elastigirl. Think of the Elastigirl pussy, my dude. The possibilities. No. That's enough. I don't wish to be horny anymore. I wish to be happy. November's almost over. One must stay strong. My guy gets another mission, but first he goes to his old suit maker to fix his suit because it got a tear in the fight, and Edna decides to go above and beyond for him and make him a completely new suit as well as fixing this one. But no capes because they lead to disasters. And after that, his wife finds slot fur on his old suit and hears him talk to a female on the phone. She's like, who that hoe? That's a business meeting. Gotta go. He goes over to the island again and they treat him like a VIP. Nice food, nice place, nice whatever, until he gets attacked by another bigger, badder testicle with arms. Turns out that the boss of Snowball is Buddy, or Bob's biggest fan, who turned evil because Bob turned away his help as a kid, turned into evil Tony Stark, sold weapons to governments and shit, but kept the best shit for himself, including this point at you, freeze you gun in his glove, which he uses to toy around with Bob until he throws him away and loses him for a quick second because he's too cocky. Bob jumps off a waterfall and hides in a cave, so Buddy sends a bomb down there to kill him, then sends the world's shittiest recon drone to find out if he's dead or not. The drone gets down there like, yes, look, oh, yeah, seems clear to me, and reports back that Bob is dead, but no, he was hiding behind a dead body. He was hiding behind a skeleton. How do you not see him through the bones? Actually, his skeleton's on a rock. He was probably hiding behind that rock. Whatever. That skeleton belongs to a dead body, obviously, of a dead super that went missing, and Bob read about in the news, called Gay Bitch. Gazer Bitch. Gazer Beam, who carved the word in the cave before he died, who carved the word Kronos in the cave before he died. So Bob waits till nighttime and jumps off a cliff like Kiwi. If you don't remember Kiwi, you're too young, and you don't know what true sadness is. He lands on a transport pod, and to cut this shit with a flaming hot knife, he breaks into Buddy's facility by passing all the guards and super shitty security. Where are the security cameras? There are no cameras. Seriously. Also, look at this clip. Okay, good aim, Bob. These three are occupied. But what about the first guy that is directly on top of the door that you want to enter through? How did he not see you get in? It's some old bullshit, man. I done diggity dog tell you about it. Anyway, I digress. He gets to the lava curtain room and attempts to breach it with the only acceptable emoji on Reddit, only to have it open before he breaches it with Snowball coming out preoccupied by looking at her iPad. He puts Dum Dum One Gum Gum down and rushes through the curtains behind her after she leaves, barely makes it through, sees his big ass computer, and he hacks it. Say hack, but he saw needed a password and guessed it was Kronos because Gay Bitch wrote it on the fucking cave. And he finds out that Buddy has been luring superheroes for years, testing big ass super killer machines on them, picking them off one by one till he got to the biggest one to pick him off and then do an evil plan. Then when he tries to leave, his suit activates a homing beacon which sets off all these sticky ball guns and lights up the room to shoot at him and incapacitate him with all the sticky nutsacks stuck to his body, stopping him from moving. Motherfucker got all the way in there, and the fucking homing beacon blinking is the shit that got him caught. Maybe it was the homing beacon's special waves that it sent through the air that triggered some sort of sensor that got him caught, but that's besides the point. He should not have gotten this fucking far. Whatever. Homing signal was activated by Helen because she saw his old suit had a repaired tear in it, so she contacted Edna and went over there and found out he back doing hero shit, and Edna made the whole family suits to fit all their special powers and included GPS trackers in each and every one of them. And when she activated Bob's, that's when he got fooked. Now she wants to go get him after a quick and fabulous pep talk by Edna. She goes home, talks to her children like, kids, stay at home and take care of each other, but they find out about the suits because they have extremely silent opening doors. I'm pretty sure, and this shot she closed it and it's opening the next. She then borrows a jet from Troll Face Guy, flies over to Buddy's island and requests permission to land, but no answer, so she gets kinda, what's going on in here? She's like, So better safe than sorry. She turns on autopilot and goes to put on her suit, and I'm not too sure that's how you turn on autopilot, but I am not a pilot, so fuck it, whatever. She then finds out that her kids snuck onto the plane with her and called the babysitter for Jack check, but then missiles get launched at them. So she gets back into control of the plane and tries to shake them as best she can, while Vi tries to put a force field around the plane as best she can, but all fails. So she flexi wraps herself around her children while the missiles hit the plane explodes and goes into pieces. They fall into the ocean but survive. Notice the missiles left a trail over to the island, so they make their way over there by having Helen morph into a boat while Flash rides her ass and motorboats his mom all the way over there. There is absolutely nothing wrong with the sentence I just said. It is completely factual. So while that was happening, Buddy had Bob trapped in an electrical thingamajig. Like, who did you call? I didn't call anybody. I know what he's talking about. So he plays his wife's voice asking for permission to land and that there are children on board while he launches missiles at her. Bob listens to his family die, or so he thinks, and he gets really mad, then somehow gets a hold of Snowball and threatens to crush her to death if he doesn't let him go. And Buddy goes, fuck it, do it. I dare you. I double dare you. I double dog dare you. Do it. But he can't because he's not not that type of guy, you feel me? Helen and the kids meanwhile have arrived at the island and she tells them to chill in this cave for a bit while she goes to save their dad and to put these masks on to protect their identity because it's the most important thing they ain't fucking have. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Those masks ain't protecting shit. All these things do is give you a really weird tan line when you take them off, making you incredibly sus when you do take them off, completely defeating their purpose. So seriously, shut up. That cave that she left them in soon has to be evacuated because Doofus here is launching his big rocket with a big testicle in it over to their hometown to cause havoc and shit. And the exhaust fumes for that rocket are exhausted through this cave. In the meantime, Helen broke into his facility and saw the rocket, checked herself out in the mirror. No!
We must stay focused, brothers. We must stay focused.
She then goes all, help me step Bob, I'm stuck in 3 separate fucking doors. Guards come to deal with this, but they alert no one else. They just try and deal with it on their own because they're fucking retards. And she frees herself and defeats them with her thunder thighs, then hides their bodies in some fucking place. And somewhere in between finding which room Bob's in and actually going to save him, there's a massive leap in time because we get a shot of the kids waking up in the middle of the jungle in the morning, getting clocked by a surveillance parrot and getting chased down by a bunch of NPCs. How has nobody ever noticed this leap in time? Why has nobody questioned it? What the fuck was Helen doing throughout this whole time? Doesn't matter. Snowball gets mad at Buddy because he played with her life and she feels bad for Mr. Incredibob, so she frees him and tells him that his family's still alive on the island, so he gives her a hug, which Helen sees because she just got to the room and she's like, you cheating whore, relax baby, I'd never give up your last twaticity for a normal They make up and go save their kids who are being chased by NPCs on flying chainsaw frisbee discs. Lots of bullshit happens that I'm too lazy to comment on, but Dash goes zoomies and runs on water, Vi goes disappearsies and dives in water. Then they team up, Vi does this force field around both of these nuts, around both of these kids, and Dash hamster balls them away until they bump into their parents and fight some guards off as a unit together, a big family, yay. Till Buddy shows up and freezes them, takes them back to his facility and puts them in this electricity zippity shackle shit, explains to them his evil plans where he's gonna send his big ass ball over there to terrorize the people and destroy the town. Then he comes over there with fucking cheat codes and defeats it, yay, there's a new superhero and he's the only superhero, great. And then when he gets bored, he'll just sell his inventions to all the people so everybody's super and then no one is super. So he goes off to do this plan of his because the ball's already there, all he has to do is fly over to the city and save it without even attempting to kill them first or even inspecting the kid's powers to see if they can escape his contraption because he's a dumb ginger. And what do you know, Vi force fuels out of the fucking thing and frees herself and the family. They attempt to escape to go back to their city and save it while the staff are celebrating being evil and only Snowball sees them running into fucking security cameras. So there are security cameras. Then how the wholesale Chickendale ponytail fuck did nah, fuck it. I don't want to. I'm done. I'm moving on. They find a van and with the help of Snowball, they get into another rocket and she launches them over to the city where Buddy is at playing pretend, defeating his own robot with the remote control he has on his arm that controls it. But don't forget, Dipshit gave it AI, so it learned that this remote control controls it and removed it off of him and launched him into a fucking building. He gets knocked out. The Incredibitches get there with the other rocket and I can't help but think that they could have found a different way to ride this rocket without stretching the shit out of this bitch like that for who knows how long. But they do get there. The van lands, survives all of this, the landing and this shitty ass parking. They start fighting the tumor with legs. It tries to teabag the kids to death, but Dad to the rescue. Frozone then shows up to help after he found his super suit. They find Buddy's remote and fuck with it a bit, try to keep it away from the ball. Lots of shit happens in between them. Then Bob ends up with one of its claws and the rest with the remote pressing random buttons to see how what works and shit like that. And Frozone slowing down the behemoth. Then Bob remembers because he fought that old one that the only thing is strong enough to take it out is itself. And the claw he's holding is like rocket launching because of all the random button pressing. They accidentally turn it on and they accidentally turn it off again. He's like, no, press it again. She's like, wait till it gets closer. We only get one shot. How the fuck did you know that he means to shoot his own claw at it, you dumb bitch? You weren't even looking when you had it activated. Whatever, they shoot the claw at it. It takes its own power source out and they win. After that, Asian K's there like, people like you again. That's cool. Mom calls babysitter that's freaking out because Jack is getting his powers and she doesn't understand what's happening. And then she says at the very end that she thanks the mom for calling in another babysitter. They're like, we didn't call nobody. And they rush into their house to find Buddy there. He freezes them with the baby in hand. He's like, I'm gonna take this baby now. Bye bye. Shoots a hole through the roof and starts flying off this jet. Baby doesn't like that. It has shit to say about that. It goes with metal, fire, goblin mode on his ass. He drops it. Mom gets launched up by Dad to grab the baby and she parachutes down. Then Bob chucks his car at his jet, which destroys it and gets him sucked into his own jets via cape. He dies. Dash gets to kind of compete in sports now. Vi scores some Tony cock. Happy days. And they suit up in the opens. Yeah, say goodbye to your secret identities, retards. To go defeat Driller from Deep Cock Galactic Acid. Riding up on Greta. That's right, I call her Greta. What are you gonna do about a bitch? Nothing. Because you can't. This movie gets 5 Aquarcus out of 29 Ebola caps.